All right, we are here. Everybody, we are officially live. Everybody watching and who will be watching in the future, welcome to the latest episode of the Mental Wealth Podcast. We're going to wrap up this month by talking to some credit experts and some personal friends of mine. Hopefully, we can leave with some information. First, quick introductions. One, Mr. Tay Menafield in my lower corner. We got Miss Marivel Sotelo in my upper corner.
Hey guys.
And we have Miss Jacoya Rasheda in my lower right corner. All of them have credit repair businesses as well as still doing anything from consulting and some other things as well. So I wanted to bring them in specifically for just to have a candid conversation about credit in general, business credit, personal credit, the ins and outs, not only on the personal credit side, but also on the credit side as a business. And that's what I really want to touch on as well. And I hope people leave with some information to kind of set their mind at ease, because there are a lot of things out here on the internet in regards to credit, a lot of credit myths. So I want to dispel some of those and get that squared away. So first, how is everybody this evening?
Good.
I am good, man. It's a great day. Hey, can't complain. Productive day. So it's all well on my end.
Yep. Marivel?
Good. I'm doing good. Been waiting for this day.
Ooh, fantastic. I know there's some jitters there. Jacoya, how about you? How you doing?
Me?
Jacoya, I think we can hear you a little bit.
I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
There we go. Yeah, we can hear you. Okay, we good. All right. So basically, I just want to start off with a kind of subjective question here. Considering all three of you are in the credit space, what is, in your opinion, the number one myth when it comes to credit? Whether it be the credit score, or whether it is how to build it, or any misnomers about what you can do with it. What's the number one thing that you see in terms of a credit myth that you want to dispel now? And I'll start with ladies first. I go with Marivel.
There you go.
I think one of the biggest credit myths that I encounter is if a bill is in collection, you don't owe that bill anymore.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one, and I'm glad you started off with that one, because that's one. In a lot of people in the credit repair space, I'm pretty sure all of you see it. There's a level of not misinformation, but maybe incomplete information. So we're telling people kind of half the story, and then when something either comes back up or something doesn't happen the way they think, then that's when they kind of come to you with it. So I'm definitely glad you started with that. T, what you got?
For me, I'm gonna take it the front side. So commonly you hear all the time, credit is bad, don't get it. And they really just come from a lack of understanding or a lack of education behind it. To say that credit is bad when credit is truly there to help you. It's how you manage your finances. So that's would be my answer on that.
Okay. Jacoya?
I think the biggest myth is when people younger, they kind of mess up their credit, and then when they kind of get older, it's kind of hard for them to try to get back on track with their credit, and it's kind of put them in a predicament of like as far as like falling into bad debt or stuff like that, and here they go trying to spend money on their credit when nobody taught them younger in the beginning of how credit really works. Because on down the line, credit, everything you need nowadays, you need credit to get it. Yeah. You really can't get nothing without credit.
Yeah, I agree. Credit is, especially nowadays, credit is very important. And I guess to kind of spin off of that, I am interested in all of your opinion about just your background with credit prior to getting into the business side of credit. Because like Jacoya said, a lot of people aren't educated early on. Sure. A lot of us may have a lot of cash background, a lot of bad debt background. Some of us kind of are in debt prior to even getting into this space. So, Marivel, what was your experience prior to you wanting to be in this business with credit? Did you even have credit? Did you have bad credit? Did you go into any type of debt prior?
I was actually involved with credit since I was 19. I've been in the car business for 17 years. So I've been around credit and I've seen the importance of credit. I never really took it upon myself until I wanted to get my first house and I was in debt. And I went to go borrow money to pay these collections off. And that's where my interest came for credit. So 8 years ago is when this journey started for me after I was in debt for $50,000.
Wow, $50,000, and that's not an uncommon story. T.
Right. And to piggyback, like she said, I would say my interest came in right at 18, turned 19. So I come from a family of seven of us. So growing up, my dad always taught me work ethics, right? So I remember sixth grade, man, I was going around our trailer park at the time, cutting grass for $5. So he always taught me how to manage my finances, but he couldn't teach me about credit. I heard about it. Only thing I can remember my dad saying, both my parents actually saying, hey, when you get credit, don't mess it up. But it never could tell me how to start credit. So I started college. And then I was like, hey, I want to try to get a credit card. I had a job at the time working at the bookstore, and of course, being a musician, that's how I made my money, playing different shows and concerts and stuff. So worked at Barnes and Nobles, tried to get a credit card, Wells Fargo immediately. Oh, Best Buy first. They denied me. And I didn't understand. I got this letter in the mail, didn't know what was up. Went to Wells Fargo, and then I got a student credit card. Start off with $500. Still have this credit card today, and I'm 31. So yeah, but my interest really came from understanding why did I get the denial, and then why did they approve me for this. So I started researching, I started asking questions, and then when I figured out my dad always told me pay your bills on time, so I did that. And then when I started checking the actual score through the credit bureaus, I started seeing the scores go up or go down based off certain things. And then over the years, I was up to the last 3 or 4 years, I was like, you know what can I do to pay back and give back to others, and at the same time look into another business venture as well. So I taught myself, I researched, studied, applied myself, and it was just something I was super interested in. So I spent hours, I'm talking about late nights. And then I think right after the pandemic, I saw you guys program, and I was like, let me just pay attention. So I just kept watching for a while, and I was like, let me just kind of see what it's about. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to invest and see where it goes from there. So bought into it, and when I was like, confirmed a lot of things that I knew and a lot of other things that I didn't know, and it just took off at that point. I made a lunch one day, and it went. And for me, it was never the rewarding side, of course, having a business, but at the same time, seeing people being impacted positively by information. That has been the biggest drive for me. I love helping people and serving people. So seeing people with lives being transformed, coming from, hey, how do I manage my money? And then we can manage your credit. Because if you take care of the one step 2, and everything else will be good. So that's kind of how I started my lead.
Okay, Jacoya.
Well, I started mine when I took summer course. That was the first time that I ever just took credit seriously. Cause like before when me and you spoke, I told you that I had reached out to my sister in Chicago, trying to get my credit fixed or whatever. So it was basically just me and her trying to get my credit fixed or whatever. And then I ran across you in summer course. And that's the first time that I ever, just really learned about credit. And then after the course, I did more research, to gain more knowledge.
Okay, and I think that's something that I'm very proud of, because all 3 of you I met through our program. And even though, like, for example, Marivel was dealing with credit way before she even met us, but I'm so proud to be able to say that I've been able to kind of collaborate and meet you guys through that program, because I know, as with T, Jacoya, Marivel, I think all you understand. A lot of people you may see online, or a lot of people that you may see just on the internet in general, you're not quite sure. Like, you just sometimes just, does the program work? Is the information valid? Are the people that you see who you think they are?
Absolutely.
And I think authenticity, I think, is a sometimes fleeting thing when it comes to social media.
For sure.
And to kind of build those relationships and able to kind of verify that, people are actually doing the work, I think is something that I know I'm specifically proud of, because I see you guys working every day in your businesses, in your ventures, helping people, going live. And I think that is something that I think a lot of people need to see, because there's such a dark cloud kind of hanging over the credit space, not just credit repair, but also just credit turned into a buzzword, especially a little after the pandemic. Everybody it was credit this, it was credit that, it was, you can fund your lifestyle with credit, you can, do this and do that with your credit. And I think a lot of people got into it looking for any and everybody to help them fix credit, not necessarily knowing, okay, well, I have this score now, but now what? And if you don't educate them what to do with it after, then you have people that's going to end up right back to having the same problem. So, and I think that's crucial, just to be honest and upfront about the ins and outs of credit, and how much of a tool it can be, but also how much of a detriment it can be if you don't know how to properly utilize it. And I think that's where we want to touch on from there. So I do want to ask you, first off, what do you think is the main factor that determines somebody's credit score, in your opinion? Because we all know there's different parts to your credit score, but what do you think is the part that people kind of are maybe not either understanding, or something that they're kind of neglecting in terms of the part that really plays a significant role in their credit score? Jacoya?
I say the 5 factors is the payment history, the age history, your credit utilization, and it's also like a mix of credit as well. But I say the most impacted one with your credit report is your utilization and your payment history. And age is, age is a good one too, but it's mainly that utilization and that payment history, because as long as your utilization higher, you're not going to see like a good change in your score. As long as it's 5% or or below, then your scores are going to continue to rise each month. And you also need to pay, keep your bills paid on time, because that's a big impact as well.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. You call me?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. So I think Jacoya said everything correct from that point. And like I said, just to piggyback off that, I think a lack of understanding is people really don't know truly what is a credit score. She named out the factors that build a credit score, but how is that truly impacted, right? So you take all those things and you really have to dissect, all right, with the factors of how they're divided out. This, the amount you owe may, equal out to a certain percentage that makes up their score. But truly going into the credit bureaus or a affiliate account to see what is my actual score, what's all being reported on each credit line, which is out of all 3 bureaus, because depending on the type of account that you may have, it may not show across all 3 platforms, which is Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. It may just be tied to that one account. Knowing what's all being reported on there, whether it's public information that could be holding you back, whether it's collections or charge-offs, these things. So truly not understanding how a credit score is formed to really determine how to nurture, build, or how you're being negatively impacted. And also how you may have some other points out here that you can free up by doing certain methods. So that's some things that I would kind of say as well.
Good answer there. All right, and Marivel.
So I think, a lot when it comes down to the credit score, what people don't, I think grasp or are not aware are the inquiries. You go to a dealership and they'll butcher you. And people are not aware of this. And I think another major thing is late payments, and credit card utilization. People, you have a credit card and it's $300 and you can only use $30 out of that $300. And, people get discouraged with credit, and it goes back to the myths, but I really think that the major thing is how people don't understand how bad inquiries affect credit and a late payment, and how they use credit card debt, how they use credit cards. and all in general.
Good. That is good.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all three of you. I guess because you all are in, since you guys are all in the credit space, do you feel like it is harder now to get your clients to kind of understand it in terms of kind of the rebuilding process, or do you find it easier or harder to kind of explain to somebody who's maybe coming in and you have to explain to them about their inability to use maybe all of their credit limit, or maybe they've maxed it out in the past and they're trying to figure this out? Is it easier? Because my question is it easier for you to try to explain to somebody who's trying to build credit, or maybe somebody who's trying to rebuild credit?
For me, I think it's a balance.
Yeah.
Over, I would say for me, over 50% of my clients are trying to rebuild credit because they went wrong somewhere. So my first approach is always to triage what's the root cause that got you to that point. And then when we begin to dissect that, then we go into the education part of, okay, here's where we went wrong. Here's what we need to do to treat it. And here's how we maintain it. So by going through those things and really just making them comfortable, having the conversation and say, it happens. Life happens to anybody. It can happen at any time. And when we really start to map it out, I just try to keep things very simple and use, common analogies that they can really connect to. And I think from the success of that, the majority, I would say probably for me, over 90% is I appreciate the education. My biggest thing is I can take you on as a client and help you out. But if you don't really know how to maintain it, everything we're doing is it's a waste of time. And even at this point, if people aren't out, for me, I would say if they're not really serious about trying to really further themselves and really want the educational piece of it, I really don't want to do business, because at the same time, you can pay me to do that, but it's more than that. I really want to change and hope to empower so we can really change the generation and really pay it forward. Change bad habits to good behavior. That's my satisfaction out of it. Like actually seeing people like, I get it now and it makes sense. I went and just bought my house. I just got my car. I'm passing it forward to my kids. Man, that's the best thing for me. So I would say it's a kind of balance between the two.
Yeah, Marivel, let me ask you, what's the average amount of time it takes for you generally to see an improvement in a client's credit report or a credit score? I know it does vary depending on scenario, of course, but generally the clients that you assist with, what's the general timeline before they start to see like some significant jumps in their credit score?
Honestly, some people get to see it as early as 15 days. Once we update that personal information that a lot of people lack to pay attention to. Mm-hmm. And, it starts varying between 30 and 45 days that we start seeing a difference. And, not only removing the debt, but removing the root of the debt, where we try to get rid of the entire debt and prepare a case for litigation in case, they come back. I have a whole case built for it.
Okay. All right. And Jacoya, what about you? What's the average amount of time people start to see significant results for you? And also, I guess to piggyback off of that, do you find yourself dealing with more people who want to be educated, especially now that there's a lot of people kind of in this space? Do you find that you find more clients who do want to be kind of educated about how to also not only fix their score, but also how to maintain it?
Yeah, I do. Well, first off of, that Marivel question, my clients, I give them the time frame within 30 to 45 days, to start seeing results. But it sometimes it can be sooner than that, but I always just give them that time frame, because, every client report is different and everyone's not going to always get the same results. And like major results, I probably give it maybe like 60 days, which they'll be starting to see like a more difference. And as far as like the clients, I kind of get more of the clients who, trying to rebuild their credit. And I do get some clients who, who just started, which I feel like those are, that's the ones who just coming, to rebuild their credit. It gives them a better opportunity, so, because as far as they're not in debt right now, and they have a chance to, like do the right thing while they are ahead. As far as like, the clients who are already, in debt, sometimes, when you're trying to educate them, you can, it's so much that you can say, you know, to a client, and, you know, it's up to them to, listen and do what's told, you know, in order for them to see an improvement in their report.
Yeah, I think a lot of times I think we all are in the same boat in terms of we want to make sure people leave us specifically with education. Unfortunately, I know you all have experienced maybe a client coming to you who came from somebody else. They were promised certain things.
Yeah, and they've been experienced
all the time.
So, Marivel, how hard is it for you to help a client who maybe has some expectations or an unrealistic timeline based on it? For example, somebody who, I mean, we used to have clients. I'm trying to get a house. I'm trying to get a house next month, but they have inquiries, they have collection accounts, they have late payments. So is it ever frustrating for you to try to explain to someone like, hey, your timeline is unrealistic based on the amount of work that we have to do?
Sometimes it is. It's kind of frustrating, and it's hard to unteach somebody something that has been instilled in them that's going to happen.
Great.
And the frustration of dealing with them, of being scammed already, and just having to unlearn everything that somebody else taught them or told them that would happen. You know, people are promised results within 24 to 48 hours, and it's unrealistic, honestly, because while some may get a credit increase based on information or inquiries of 24-hour removal, you know, some may come back with 24 hours that nothing was removed, and everybody's upset now. You said this and you said that, or this person said this and this person. So I think it becomes frustrating when they don't hear to listen. They're just listening to attack. Like, this is not right. And, you know, what do you do? What do you say? No, you're absolutely right. I've been doing this for 8 years. You know, you're coming to me for what then?
And
Ryan, do you have like
I piggyback off of
I am curious, yes, you guys. How do y'all feel about credit sweeps?
Oh my gosh.
That's how I feel about it.
Right.
I have to ask, because I ran across plenty of people, you see it out here all the time, about credit sweeps and wiping your credit clean, and even that's in the same category as CPNs. And when you are dealing with, I think, TikTok specifically, social media in general, there's a lot of people who are making these promises or saying that they can wipe your entire credit report clean and you can start fresh. And a lot of these people, it's hard to talk to those people, because they already have it in their mind. Okay, well, if this person said it, it has to be true. Absolutely. And we try to educate people all the time through just even different means of anybody, for the most part, who's offering credit sweeps, because they're especially prevalent in Atlanta. If they're offering you a credit sweep, more times than not, probably 99% of the time, is some version of identity fraud. And you don't want to be wrapped up in identity fraud and filing false police reports and police affidavits and identity reports, because what's going to happen is they're going to file those reports. For one, that's fraud. Absolutely. Then there's a possibility after the investigation that stuff is going to all come back. Yep. Now you have double the problem that you had before, and now you spent your money already. So that's why I wanted to bring it to the table in terms of credit sweeps. And how do you handle somebody, T, for example? How do you handle somebody that comes to you and asks you about CPNs, for example?
Thank you for that question, because I've been waiting for it.
I've been dying for that.
Go off on the CPNs and the speed, because before you get started, people are going to come to you and they're going to say they Googled it and they're going to say, hey, celebrities use CPNs. Absolutely. Hey, CPNs aren't illegal, and you have to try to explain the nuances of why the actual CPN itself is not illegal, but the way that you use it is illegal. So I'm gonna give you the floor and go off on CPNs.
That's a great question, man. It's you. I hear it all the time, and I think a lot of that stuff come from mindset, and depending on some people who want things right then. Like, you got some people who are hustlers and they just want to go about things the illegal route and they're okay with that, and that's totally fine. It ain't me. I'm gonna tell you that now. If it's illegal, I don't deal with it. Find somebody else. I'm very transparent about that, right? And the biggest thing I tell people all the time first is you don't need me. Everything that we really learn is accessible on YouTube, all this other kind of stuff, but you just have to research and see what's going on. So if you're looking at getting your credits a credit suite, first of all, understand what you're getting into, right? Like you said, the false reports, things that can lead to fraudulent activity. It's really setting yourself up for some long-term stuff that is definitely not gonna put you in a bad situation. And why your credit can be bad, but if you sweeping everything off, maybe everything on your credit shouldn't probably be disappeared. You may have some good things that you did taken care of, and those are things that we want to hang on to. So that, but and a CPN number. Hey, can I get a CPN? I had this question last week. I'm looking to buy a house, and I know my credit's bad. And I said, "What do you mean your credit's bad?" Well, I'm at like a 560. So who? That's technically it's not bad. I mean, it's bad, but we can work with it. I mean, it's bad, but
It's a little bad.
Yeah, it's not horrible. I've seen.
I've seen worse.
Right. So you're looking at going to get a CPN number and doing all these other things that in the end, like you could really just invest. Clean your report up. Let's dissect and see what's going on and really rebuild. And then in a few months, you'll be good to go. And man, it's people, listen, just do things the right way. I believe in sowing good seeds. When you sow good seeds, good to follow you. The law of attraction. Understand what it really takes to build a credit report. It's sometimes it does take time. But when you really understand it, you can fix it versus going the illegal route and doing these CPNs and credit sweep, all this kind of stuff. And you really know what's going on. Because guess what? You're going to get what you want, and you're going to be back in the same situation because nobody really taught you. They're in the business trying to make quick money. They're trying to, and that's really what it is. Don't do it. Get with somebody who can really educate you on those things and really put you in a good position so that you can maintain and have financial freedom forever. And then instead of behind the bars, and that's your other freedom inside of that. So I digress.
Yeah, Marivel.
What's your question?
I want to know how do you handle the credit suite CPN section of our space?
Well, it's literally posted outside my office. We don't do CPNs. So I don't really deal with them. I don't do credit sweeps. I don't entertain it. What somebody else told you, I don't want to hear it. I'm here to educate you the legal way, the right way, the only way that I know. It's hard. I guess it's easier for me because I have 6 children. And out of 6 children, 3 of them are in homes. They own their own cars and they're in college. So I'm very familiar with building credit and with rebuilding credit. I had the privilege of helping them start credit, and I was honored to clean my own credit. So when it comes to CPNs and the sweeps, I tell them I've had both of best worlds. There's no reason for it unless you indeed are a celebrity and need one.
That part.
Jacoya, does anybody come to you talking about credit sweeps or CPN numbers or anything like that?
I got it on my website. So before they even sign up, they already know I don't do CPNs or credit sweeps.
That is smart because like as T stated, man, it's just a lot of misinformation about those items. And then frankly, my first question would be, if you feel like you need a CPN, for example, you probably shouldn't have the thing that you're trying to get with it in the first place.
Right.
Yep. If you're trying to get this house and your credit is not good enough to get this house on your own, then how do you not think that that's some level of fraud? Because if you can't get it under your original information and you're trying to mask that information with the CPN number, why do you feel like that wouldn't raise a red flag? I know there are a lot of people who get away with it, who buy certain things. And look, I'm going to be honest. There's a lot of people, especially like in this city where I'm at, people use CPN, people do credit sweeps. I'm not here to tell you that they don't work. What I am telling you is I'm not trying to be the one to take that gamble with my freedom to try to do it for you or even do it myself. Just pay somebody who knows what they're doing, and it may be a process. But part of us being educators and part of us being in that space is giving realistic expectations. We all are very familiar with the Fair Credit Reporting Act. We're all very familiar with consumer rights and consumer laws. And we're not doing any, like we were talking with Jacoya during her interview, we're not doing anything. There's no smoke and mirrors with this.
Nope.
There are no hidden passageways. There's nothing. It's just knowing your rights as a consumer and utilizing those, we'll call them loopholes in that Fair Credit Reporting Act to benefit you. And yeah, there are going to be certain instances where it may take things slower to get things handled than other things. But the answer is never to wipe everything off due to identity fraud. Because you have to think about this. If your credit report gets stamped with identity fraud, more than likely they're going to shut everything down because your entire profile is going to be at risk. They're going to look at you as a risk of somebody who is at risk of being subject to identity fraud. So you're going to get all your accounts shut down. It's going to be harder for you to get anything because you'll look at somebody who's gotten their identity stolen.
Yep.
You don't want that cloud hanging over your head just to try to speed up the process.
Right.
So that's the frustrating part.
If I can back on that, interject on that too, Ryan. I think one of the disadvantages or the portion of it that I really hate is sometimes when you're trying to educate some people want things, they want it fast, they want it quick, they don't care about it. And I'm like, I get that. I can help you all day long. But if you just want to do things the fast way, I 9 out of 10 is really not going to sustain it. You're not going to sustain it. It may work for a while, but at some point you're going to be back in the same situation. So that's one of the hardest things for me is, people come in with these expectations of how soon can you do tax? Well, how soon can you manage your finances? How soon can you really understand? Like, it's up to you. I can do my part, but we have to work together. I can't be fixing your credit and you're out here over exceeding your credit limit, or you're not paying your bills on time. The higher the score, the harder to hit. That's one of the biggest things on that piece of it. And then they go to the routes. Well, I can just go buy a CPN. Yeah, you can. And understand what comes with that as well. So you take the risk on it, and that's the hardest part is trying to unconditionalize people that, as Marivel said earlier, is people that are set in their ways and trying to show them the right way. People hate to read. They hate to research. Yes. Hate to try to figure out on their own. And they just want to hear, if that's you, find somebody else. I want to work with people because those are the hardest people to work with. Well, hey, I paid you and I haven't seen anything. Yeah, because you just missed 2 payments on you didn't pay your car note. But I can't do nothing with that.
Man, look, I definitely understand. Jacoya, I know you probably dealt with people before who to piggyback off of what he was saying. Especially in the beginning, where you have to tell people that, okay, we're gonna start to work on these credit things. But the one thing I do not need you to do during this process is to open up more credit or to stop paying what you have already been paying. Because a lot of people will stop paying everything because they think you're going to be able to get it off. So, Jacoya, how do you handle people coming in the door and managing their expectations and saying, hey, if you're already paying something, just keep paying it, as opposed to just thinking that it's just going to be a magic wand type of situation? Do you run across that issue where somebody's coming in and has this idea, well, okay, I'm just going to stop paying everything because Jacoya is going to handle it?
Yeah, I had a few that came in like that. And how I do it, before we even get started, I do a phone call with them, and I put a report, and we'll go over what needs to be fixed, and and we'll set a plan, and we'll stick to the plan from there on out. And however, I also tell them, from the beginning, this what go happen, don't apply for this, follow whatever we telling you to do, please do it, because we want to steer you no wrong direction. So I tell them from the gate, if and if this plan, however, don't suit you, you can, it's plenty of other, credit repair specialists out there. You can always find someone else, that fix what you need at that moment. Because I can't do miracles. It's only so much that I can do, And I just tell them from the beginning, so on down the line, they won't be, expecting more.
Yeah. Have you ever had to turn somebody down?
I turned plenty of people down because some people be want. I had a girl, she wanted a new Benz for her birthday in June, and she signed up in May. I'm like, and her report, it was in the fours, and I'm like, this unrealistic. We can't do that. And she get to telling about what other people can do, and you just referred her to, okay, the people who told you what they can do. How about you go to them and let them do what they can do? So I just tell them from the get go, it's not about the money. It's really not about the money. I just really want to help them, and I just tell them from the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All clients, you don't have to accept all clients.
Marivel, you ever had to turn down some clients?
All the time.
How hard is that? Because look, because the idea
you like you don't play. You don't play with it.
Let me tell you, when I was struggling, I'm gonna write this one out. I think I got host for this one. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna take it like a champ. But after a while, it ain't worth it. Take your money somewhere else. It's just now it's easy. It's like not today. Today is not the day.
Yeah,
but,
I think we're definitely going to touch on the business side of it, because I definitely want to get y'all experiences on that end. But as Jacoya was saying, I think people kind of come in with a certain expectation, and it's very hard in the beginning, especially even on either side, the business side or somebody who's looking to get their credit fixed, because we all understand that we didn't mess our credit up overnight, so it's not going to be an overnight process to get it fixed. But you're dealing with people who most of the time are in less than ideal financial situations. They are looking at credit as a way to improve their life, improve their lifestyle, to get that new house, to get the new car. So we all understand that comes with a level of anxiousness that comes with that. So
or even them trying to help someone else and put themselves in a bad position by extending the help, and now it's backfired on you.
Yes, and that's even just to piggyback off of that. Co-signers, I'm pretty sure we all put our fair share of co-signers. I always advise people, look, either you really have to trust whoever you co-sign for, you must really care about. You better make sure that they are somebody that you can trust and not just somebody that you love, because if they miss out on those payments, or if they let that car go back, it's a lot harder for you long term if you don't get that together. So I don't particularly advise people to co-sign unless you're really, really sure.
You could never be too sure to co-sign. My dad said, if you have money in the bank, that's how you can help somebody. You don't help somebody with your name. And I understood that as like,
that's a good one. That's a good one there. So Jacoya, I want to go back to you, because I know specifically you and Marivel are two people that I know specifically who are experts at handling people who are rebuilding. So let's say I come to you and I'm coming to you. Let's say I'm 23, 24. Let's say I have almost little to no credit. So my credit score, let's say I have a 600 credit score, but I go to apply for a vehicle and they deny me. What would you tell me? Because I have a 600 credit score. So I have a 600 credit score, but I don't have any accounts. I don't have any collections. I don't have any credit cards. Why am I getting denied? What would you tell somebody in that situation?
I say in that situation, I say first get them a secure card. That'd be the first thing, because my husband was in that situation. He had like a 7 something, and they denied him, for a car because he didn't have nothing on his report. And that's when I took you guys' course and I applied for him like a secure credit card. And that was the first thing he ever had on his report. And his score went up so high, it went up almost like 60 some points just off of that first secure credit card. So I say, first get that secure credit card, and it'll boost your score. And also I seen other people, they get maybe a trade line with an age history on it, what they can put on their report and also apply, and that should get them approved for it. if that, with them not having no collections and, with that first secured credit card. And I say get a trade line to show that age history on your report.
I agree. Marivel, what do you typically tell your clients coming in with maybe not bad credit, maybe they're coming in with no credit? Do you still take them on as clients, or do you just refer them to some credit building applications or software as opposed to maybe taking them on as clients because they don't necessarily need what you offer?
I do a whole analysis of it. I don't charge them to rebuild credit. I do not charge them. I'm sorry, to build credit, not to rebuild, because I do charge for rebuilds. To build credit, I don't charge them. We look at everything that they're doing. If they're renting, of course, I send them to Rental Karma to get that credit. If they're on time with their rental payments, I do send them for a secured card. And I do have affiliate links because I am an affiliate queen. For my credit cards, if I feel like, you can get a secured card, here's my link, apply through Discover, through Capital One, and they're going to get approved. 90% of the time they get approved for something, even if it's a secured card, like Jacoya said, it starts there, and then go look for somebody that's trustworthy on trade lines. Just don't trust anybody on a trade line, because if they're not doing good on finances and they can't show you they're doing good, steer clear, because you're not going to be doing any better than you are off on your own.
Yeah. T?
That's good. I'm also like I'm in agreement with both Jacoya and Marvel at the same time. So for me, I don't charge. If anything, it's just mostly for time, right? Time is everything for me. So if we're taking time out, I would say, hey, well, let's set up 3 months of consultations, and let's really spend this time to really dissect what are you doing. And I'm always I put them in a seat. You be the teacher, and let me hear what you're doing. And let's see, and then I kind of give feedback off based off that. I have some that are very educated on knowing how they maintain their credit, how their credit works. And some just want those, hey, here's my thought on this. Here's what I'm trying to do. What should I do? And we kind of dissect that and build a plan on that piece of it. Also, I'm the same. I have affiliate links all over. So I'm like, hey, check this out. I'll refer you here, and really just create them like a one-stop shop. And even to the point where I have now where if I have someone in that level, I have like a list of, I like a to-do list, do-it-yourself list. If you're in this position, here's what you need to do. If you're like a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and that's kind of how I look at it. Tier 1 is you're here, you just need some guidance. Tier 2, a little bit more hands-on. Tier 3, we need to kind of walk this thing out a little bit longer. And most of the time, what I notice is just financial management. And that's why I go back to like, let's really start here. You understand how it works. Now you just don't know how to really, you don't know what a budget is. You don't, how much you make in a month, how much you bring in a week, how much do you have going out? Are you out doing XYZ? Let's find that medium ground to level set and what works for you. I can sit here and tell you what works for me, but we got to figure out what works for you. Mm-hmm. I'm a little more tight with my money depending on what it is. I can have it. I'm like, I'm gonna eat some noodles today, and then I may splurge a little bit on the end, but it's all about setting those goals, figure out where you are, and let me meet you where you are so we can get to where we need to be.
I can definitely understand. And actually, to piggyback off what you said, T, I'm interested in all of your opinions in terms of, I feel like now more than ever, especially with inflation and social media in general, and people, I think, are starting to, I don't want to say wake up more, but I think people are starting to realize how important being able to have something to kind of pass on is, whether it be, a home or, just even a car that's better than the one that they had before. They're overall trying to build their quality of life.
Yeah.
And I think there's a kind of disconnect there, I think, in my opinion, with understanding that, yes, credit can get you the thing that you desire to get, but you also need to have the finances to then back up what you're trying to get. Mm-hmm. So even in terms of, yes, you can have $20,000 worth of credit limits, but if you don't have $20,000, then maybe you shouldn't have $20,000 worth of credit limit.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard for people to kind of comprehend because they're kind of being taught through TikTok and Instagram and social media in general that, hey, you can use these cars to fund your lifestyle as opposed to maybe using it to, purchase some assets that can generate some income for you. And I think there's a strong disconnect with that. So maybe I'm kind of curious of your opinion because you've been in this space, like you said, since you were 18, 19 years old. How important do you feel like it is to have stable income before you access large credit limits?
I mean, I think it's very important. It's extremely important, especially if you don't have that backbone that I was able to be for my children. Something that happened recently, my son was in a car accident and his car is leased. He's 18. He just turned 19. And the insurance agent said, "Oh, so you're a mommy and daddy's boy because this is a leased car. So we can't be talking to you." And the car's leased completely under him. So there's no co-signer. It's just him leasing the vehicle. And to me, just him understanding, you're going to lease this vehicle, you need to have the grounds because you're not going to have those miles that you're leasing this. You're going to end up having to buy out of this lease. So if you don't have the money right now for it, don't even do it. Just, you better finance this car.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's very important to have financial stability before you take something large. And unfortunately, in my culture, it's something that is not taught. In my culture, we are taught that everything is cash. So when I talk to somebody else in my race, it's very hard to help them or make them understand that they need credit because they think cash is everything. And if they don't have cash, they're not worth anything. And it's the other way around.
Yeah. Jacoya, how you feel?
I feel like you should learn how to manage, your money first before you start getting, big credit limits amount with, credit cards and loans and stuff like that. And because another thing, if you can't, pay a loan back and then here come late payments and then there go another problem that you encounter. So I feel like you should, have your money management skills down pat first before you, start getting big credit limits.
Yeah. Look, when it comes to those credit limits, I feel like I do kind of feel like, and T, I'm kind of interested how you feel about it because whose responsibility is it to educate our clients on the financial side of it? Because a lot of people could easily look at it and say, hey, look, I'm here to do specifically to repair or enhance your credit reports, your credit profile. These are the things that I'm focusing on. So who's in your opinion, who's at fault for the people not necessarily being educated on the financial side? Do you feel like maybe social media is playing a role in that?
Okay, sorry. That's a great question. Now I believe in being responsible, right? So for me, and I could be a little bit hard, I think it's all of our responsibility. If I have a choice on what I do with the things that are put out here, right? Social media gives us a platform to leverage, to pass along information, to connect, do all these things, right? And it's a great tool. It can be used for positive, it can be used for negative. So it's up to me to truly determine, to verify this information is correct. If I log into my banking app, they're going to send me a passcode to verify if it's truly me. We should have that same mentality when it comes to finding information, when it comes to our credit, the things that really mean fact, our social security number, our credit, our banks, all these things that are high level, we need to verify if it's truly, if it's truly accurate, if it's, just being responsible. So I would say is 90% my responsibility, probably 100%, but connecting with people who are trustworthy and who can, pass the information on. And then as a business owner, being in this side from with taking out the personal side, it's my responsibility to make sure that before we move forward in trying to sign you up as a client, let me understand what the need is and provide you as much information as possible so I can determine how to help you. Because just because you're maybe, and if you're not good with your finances, you're not ready for credit repair, because that means you're not going to take it serious. So I'll help you get a plan. Let's start with the consultation piece of it. Let me guide you on this. And when you're ready for that, now we can step over here, because if not, I bring you on, we're going to be back in the same position. And now we waste your time. And that's one thing I hate doing, is wasting time. So, and to go back into what they were saying earlier about just what I think people are inspired by money and how things are presented on social media. I can scroll on TikTok, Instagram, and all you see is, let me show you this masterclass on how I just got $20,000 and $50,000. And it's like, yeah, you can get it. But let us teach you. Let us. Did they teach you how to manage that? Because if you got $20,000, like I was saying earlier, and you have a $500 or a $1,500 a month income, make it make sense. Because if life happens, and like culture, if I know I got $20,000, I'm finna go run it up. I'm finna go buy me some J's. I'm finna go buy me. I'm a fisherman, so I'm gonna go buy me some fishing equipment. I'm gonna get me in a boat. All this kind of stuff. And guess what? Now we're not even talking about interest rates. So who knows what the interest rate is on it? So next month roll around, I don't spend $10,000 out of the $20,000 on top of this interest, and I can't even pay the minimum payment. And then that's how we get sucked up in this whole fantasy of just because of what it looked like, and nobody's really digging at the root.
Yeah, man, you've been there. Man, how can you, if you were to spot I'm going to say bad. I'm going to use the word bad. I hate using the word bad. How can you spot a bad credit repair agency? What are some red flags when it comes to like, I don't know about that. That one may not be what you should mess with.
I think for me, and I don't want to throw, shade on anybody. For me, the biggest red flag that I see is pay me $1,000 up front, and I'm gonna take care of your credit for the next 6 months. I think paying any lump sum up front other than your onboarding fee is a huge red flag for me, because you have congratulations, you have just been added to the list.
Oh, man.
I think to me that's one of the biggest things, I think a lot of people that I hear that come to me are like, I paid such and such $1,800. I'm like, man, I'm in the wrong business. What am I doing? And he blocked me, and now I can't get a hold of him.
Oh, man.
That is so sad.
I think
a lot
that
of people
lump sum is what gets me.
Like, Jacoya, how do you spot what's a red flag with? I know, because I'm pretty sure you're not the only person doing credit enhancement services on your timeline, on your social media. I'm pretty sure you see it as well. So what's something that you see is like, that could be some trouble?
I see a lot. The first thing I say is they be giving clients like unrealistic time frame of, you pay me this certain amount, I can have this gone in 7 days or 10 days. Or they'll be promising clients stuff that, they can do, which in reality they really, can't even do it. And it just be so much. Then don't forget about the credit sweeps.
Yeah.
It just be so much. And then when they, put that in them clients' head, then they come to you be expecting the same thing. It just stop the lies. Stop the lies. If you can't do it, just, be upfront with the client. Don't just take their money. Be realistic. Be realistic, because people work hard for their money. And don't just take them clients' money like that.
Yeah. See, what's a red flag you see?
One of the biggest red flags I see is somebody saying, I'm the plug on, I got this template. I can show you how to send this in. I get so tickled by that, because templates are everywhere. And no shade to anybody. The reality is, you have a template. That doesn't mean that's what's going to change your credit score. That doesn't mean that's going to remove whatever that is. You really have to thoroughly determine what is truly negatively impacting your credit. If I'm saying, well, I got this letter that'll teach you how to take off repo. Well, you must have really ran into stall letters and stuff like that when you sending stuff in, and the bureaus are like, yeah, we're just gonna ignore this because your wording isn't right. You don't know what all should go in here, how it should be included. And cash out me $20 and I'll send it to everybody, and everybody like, yeah, I got this, and they don't know what to do with it, and now they're stuck. Yeah, no. Understand what needs to be done. Connect with somebody who's going to educate you. And I'll say, if they're not providing education, like we're talking about right now, they are not serious about what they got going on. The real person who takes credit serious from a business perspective, they're going to educate you first. They don't care about your money, of course. They're, but at the end of the day, they want to make sure you have the right information, and they're and you're trustworthy just as they are. And going into a partnership, not necessarily just a program, like partnership, because that's exactly what it is.
Yep.
I think to kind of put a bow on that part, which is something that I see, which I'm very proud of all three of you, but something that I don't see, or something that I do see from a lot of people who is like, you're not going to be here for long, is the main thing I would tell anybody in order to spot maybe somebody who maybe you shouldn't go to is they don't have any proof.
Nope.
They don't have any testimonials. Nope. They don't have any any clients under their posts. They don't have any testimonials, any social proof to show that they're actually getting results. It's, hey, I have this thing, you pay me, I will do this. Okay, well, do you have anybody that can verify it? Do you have anybody that can testify to that? Because one thing I have seen in business, no matter what business you're in, if you get people results, they're going to tell somebody.
Right.
They're going to put it on their social media. They're going to tag you. You're going to be able to tag them in the post that you make on your social media. So if you run across anybody who has a credit repair business and has nobody to vouch for them, who has no screenshots, no recording, no anything. And not only that, if you see somebody who is on social media and their video content or their content consists of very generic, kind of very shallow information, hey, did you know that a collection agency doesn't have the right to do pay me this money and find out what you can do about it? Or like River said, where is, hey, are you one thing I'm gonna get on my soapbox for a minute. Because one thing that I do not like, and I ran across this even in our previous classes, is people who are on TikTok mainly. They're on TikTok and they're regurgitating laws that they can't explain. Is section 2, chapter 8, paragraph 3, and it says this, and it says that they are not allowed this and that, and it's just like, are y'all actually reading the law? Go read the law. Like, you go read that same law. I had this conversation with somebody maybe months ago when it comes to down payments and how down payments are illegal, and it's just, they pull up statute 89.7, and it's just like, did you go read the statute on your own? The majority of the time, it's not even written in a language that you can really understand without some type of experience or legal advice. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are falling for these types of information because, yes, the laws are there, but they also, a lot of those are open to interpretation. So if you just believe every person who comes to you with the statute, you're going to be listening to a lot of the wrong people. Absolutely. And I think that's the main people who I feel like need help the most, because they're clearly looking for someone and they're looking for guidance. I think a lot of people are preying on those people by just regurgitating, because it's like, hey, if he knows a statute, if he can regurgitate this statute, but then you ask them to explain it and they can't. If you can't explain it on a lower level, on a basis, and you have to kind of over talk, or you have to feel like you have to over educate in terms of using legalese, to me, that is a red flag. Absolutely. Because you're preying on people's miseducation.
Yep.
And I had to get that out.
Now you sound like you know what you're talking about. So let me just go with that.
Yeah, like you sound like you know what you're talking about. I'm looking for somebody to help me. And because they said, hey, well, statute 27B-19, section paragraph 97 says that I don't have to pay this. And it's like, okay, well, technically, you don't have to do anything. But watch what happens if you don't. Like, that's the main thing. If you don't have to pay collections, you don't have to pay these people back. But if you don't pay, like, you don't have to, you don't have to answer that court summons if they take you to court for it. But watch what happens if you ignore it.
Exactly.
If you ignore it, you're going to have a bigger problem because you didn't even put up a fight. Yep. And I think that's the most frustrating thing for me in this space, because this space is a very good space. I think it's a very needed space.
Yeah.
I do feel like it is also, people are coming into it as incomplete. So by the time you get done with them, they feel like this is the end, as opposed to this being the beginning of their journey. Right. So they expect for you to not only fix their credit, they also expect you to maintain it for them. They expect it to work out in their favor. And it's like, this is only the beginning.
Yep.
And I think that's something that we as business people, I think, need to be more aware of, because this business is not for everybody if you don't want to deal with people on a non-surface level.
Yeah.
I just had to get that out there.
Yeah. And the last portion you said, dealing with people who really sometimes, like, they'll get it offhand and then they may lose it. So creating that community to say, hey, I really have an open door policy. Like, call me. I even to the point where in the first start of my business, I would tell people, like, if you get stuck, call me. Like, I would literally walk you through. I want to help you truly understand it, and just keep that. And I think that has really been the success of just my name in the credit repair business, because I'm very transparent. I'm not hard to get a hold to. If I'm busy, I'll tell you this, but we'll set up a call. We'll make it happen. And that's just how it is. So that's, I think when you have faces like us sitting here on platforms like this, giving the real spill, the behind the scenes, the good and the bad, and the challenges that come along with it, it really can kind of transform and help people weed out, what steps to take. Is this something I'm ready to do right now? Do I want to work with these type of people? Here's what I need to look out for, etc. And then just revamping their business or their personal lives at a whole, because they work hand in hand. If you're not really taking care of yourself in your personal life, don't think you're gonna take yourself in your business life, and they work hand in hand.
Yeah. And Marivel, let me ask you, what do you say to somebody who, I'm pretty sure we all see it at some point, what do you say to somebody that says, hey, why do I even need a credit repair specialist? Why do I need a credit repair company? I can do this on my own. Why do I need somebody to do it for me? Or why do I need you to explain to me these things? How do you respond to that?
Well, it's crazy that you're asking me this, right? Because I just had somebody, we're going through their report, and he tells me, oh, no, those are the ones that I don't have to pay back because the IRS already paid them back. I said, what? And I said, I'm sorry. So I asked him to repeat it to me. And he says, yeah, the IRS already paid those off for me. And I said, who told you that? He said, oh, I talked to somebody else, and that's what they told me, that I didn't have to pay these because the IRS already paid for them. And I said, no, that's not the case. And, I had to go back and unteach something that was taught and instilled. And he thought it was the absolute truth, because he paid somebody $500 to be on the phone with him to walk him how to fix his own credit. And he landed with me because he was getting sued by a debt collector. And he said, why do I have to hire you if the other guy told me that I could do it? I said, you're absolutely right. You don't have to hire me, because credit repair is something that everybody can do. And that's why there's consumer law, because we should all, it's free will for everybody. But you're paying me for my knowledge. You're paying me for my expertise, for what I do for a living. If, Mr. Sir, he's a plumber. I surely can't hire, you can't hire me as a credit repair specialist to come fix your plumbing, because it's not going to work. I could do it myself. I could try to do it all day long. But do I know what I'm doing? Probably not. It takes one bad leak and the whole pipe is gone. So I said, it's the same thing with credit repair. Absolutely. You could do it yourself, but you're paying us for our knowledge, for our expertise, because we do this and we see this on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Jacoya, what about you?
Well, yeah, kind of what Marivel said. I always tell clients, you can do it yourself, but it's more than, just sending out letters. Everybody can send out letters, but it's more like, I educate all my clients. I send them ebooks. I teach them, I guide them, so so they won't get back in a predicament that they was in. So, like I said, it's more than about letters. You just, you got to have more knowledge. You can pay your debt off. That's another option, but you paying your debt off, then you still don't have that knowledge. Maybe 2-3 years on down the line, here you go back in that same predicament again because you didn't have that knowledge.
Right. I think that's one of those things. And I think that one of the things that also is true, and that also I think people need to know more about in this space, is that there may be a time, depending on your scenario, where you should just pay them people. Sometimes you just gotta pay them people.
People though.
Do you get applause? Like, do you have an applause button? We can get one right there.
Like sometimes you just have to, like, hey, if you're looking at somebody's credit and they're saying, hey, like, I have this thing, I have this thing, I have this thing, but I'm trying to buy a house.
Yeah.
A lot of people, realtors especially, a lot of them will tell you, like, hey, we just need to show that you took care of it.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need to be deleted. Yes, there are times where, yes, we as credit repair people would rather have it deleted. We would rather have it removed than just being paid. Because being removed is going to affect your score more significantly. However, there's going to be a lot of cases where you just need to pay who you owe. And I think that's kind of lost in the shuffle sometimes, where I think we're so caught up in, or clients are so caught up in the, can you get this removed? I have student loans. Can you get this removed? I have this car. Can you get this removed? It's like, I can get it removed, but if I remove this student loan, well, one, that's your oldest line of credit. So if I remove this, it's going to tank your score. Like, or I have this open account, but you have one missed payment. Well, why would you want to delete it if you only have one missed payment? Let's not get rid of 3 years worth of history. We're just going to try to build over the top of that late payment. And I think we're so caught up on, we can get everything taken off. We can get everything removed, and we can just wipe the slate clean. And I think that's not always the best case scenario for people who are trying to get their dream home or their dream car, or trying to get some capital to start their business. And I think the responsibility is on not only the educators, but I think it is also on the person, because you can, if we're Googling how to do credit on our own, I do feel like there needs to also be a Google on the pitfalls that comes with, financial instability in credit and things like that. And I feel like that is a very crucial missing component in this space, where I feel like there needs to be some type of collaborative effort between financial experts and credit specialists, where we educate them on both sides for them to understand, okay, like T said earlier, here's a budget. Stick to this budget. While you're on this budget, we're going to work on your credit over here, because we're trying to build a long-term habit. We're trying to show you that, hey, just because you have it doesn't mean you need to spend it on frivolous items, and at least not items that are generating income for you.
Yeah, and that's always been my well, after time in the business, I realized, and I think just from my job, that the finding the root cause is always my thing with anything I go into. When you find the root cause of what people's struggles are, whether it's mental, emotional, financial, etc., when you find the root cause with it, you know how to really start from the bottom up and then replant that seed, take care of it from that point and watch it grow. So going into the personal side of maintaining your credit, your finances, is like, okay, well, what are you struggling with credit? How did you go wrong? So then we're having a consultation. Now you may have come on board and we're looking at your credit report. And now during our consultation, now I've already determined where we kind of went wrong, or if life just happened at a moment. We have these up and down moments in life. So going now, my biggest approach is, how you manage your finances, and how do you plan for that rainy day? As Mary said earlier, life happens, so you never know. Let's go ahead and learn how to stack here, put these things around, and then maintain where we're going with that. Because if you take care of this, even if life happens, I can pull back. There's still no lack, and the main things I have to take care of, and go from there. So people are like, so how do you maintain your credit? I said, every account that I have, I think I have about 10 to 12 credit cards on the probably, and every bill that I have is on automatic withdrawal. I don't look at it unless I need to, which is probably maybe a bad habit sometimes, but I just feel like my money in the bank, and if it's something go wrong, I'm calling the bank and they're gonna put it back. If I had to get on the phone, you probably don't want that to happen, because I'm a beast when it comes to that part of it. So I trust the bank. That's where my money sits at. And I'll monitor as needed, but all of my accounts are automatic withdrawal. And it's like, why you do that? Because I manage my finances. When I get paid, if I pay a bill off, I'm going to keep paying myself back to a separate account and let them keep paying back for me. So it's going to build up. If I got to get new tires on my car, I ain't got to worry about coming out of my main check or my other stuff right here. All this is just added bonus. So when you teach people how to change their mindset on simple things, and you can see the wow factor, the light turns on, like, oh, it makes sense. Or I have a mortgage payment and I got to pay it on my next check. Let's split it up. Pay a little bit here, do a little bit here. Sit at home this month, eat small, and then now you have a little bit to carry over. So now you're not living paycheck to paycheck. And when we change that paycheck to paycheck mentality with our finances, with our bills, and then our credit, then you'll get out of it. And when you get out of it, don't go just throw yourself back in it just because you can. We're back in the same position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jacoya, what's the way, or what are some things that you suggest to be able to track somebody's credit? What's the way to monitor your credit? What's some ones that you suggest, the ones you feel like over time are the more reliable ones? Because we all know about Credit Karma, and we all know about people using Credit Karma, and how inaccurate it is. So what are some ones that you would suggest to someone instead of using sites like Credit Karma?
So I suggest my clients to use Experian, and also the credit bureaus apps like Equifax and TransUnion. Those are 3 apps that I have my clients use once they sign up with us.
Okay, Marivel?
For me, actually, I have a budget tracker that I give to my clients. That is, it's made through Microsoft. You put in how much they make, what credit cards, their statement dates, what they can spend during this day, and what they have to pay back before the statement date, and how much they got to pay on the due date, and how much they'll have for their check. Making 4 accounts. When you get paid, $50 goes to this account, $50 goes to this account. Your vacation is paid for by the time you get where you got to get. Making the minimum amount the same amount. I think a lot of people live above their means, and that's when things go south.
Yeah.
Yes. Lifestyle creep is a real thing.
It does creep up on you when you least expect it,
Yep. You used to be able to, let's say you're making, let's say 50,000, making 50, which is still more than most people make, just to be honest. But let's say you make $50,000 a year, and you're kind of right there on the margin. Your income spikes, so you are barely surviving on 50,000. You get a raise. Now, as your income raised, your lifestyle raised higher than the income, and it's just going to keep creeping up, where it's going to eventually be harder to maintain. There's only going to be so far those credit cards are going to be able to get you before one emergency happens, and boom. Because just as important as having, credit for emergencies or, generating assets is also the fact that you also need to have the financial part, like an emergency fund, because your credit card should not be your emergency fund.
Nope.
You can use it for an emergency, but it should not be your emergency fund. You have $10,000, $20,000 worth of credit. That is not, hey, if my engine blows in my car, I'm going to use 3 of my credit cards. It should be, hey, at the very least, if I need something now, I'm going to swipe this card, but until I get paid a couple of days or before my reporting date, and then I'll go ahead and pay it back off. This is not something you should let linger. And especially you have people nowadays where they're trying to get the the Chase cards. We're trying to get the American Express. We're trying to get the Gold cards, the Sky Miles cards. You have a lot of people, just as important as the scores or the education, we also have to educate them on which cards may be suitable for them. You have a Sky Miles card from American Express, but you don't travel.
Yep.
You don't have, you buy more groceries, but you don't have a card that gives you cash back for the thing that you actually do.
Use, yeah.
So now you have an American Express Gold card with a high yearly fee that you're complaining about because you don't utilize all the benefits that come with that card because you're not in that space yet. You're not at that level yet. So now you have this credit card with a high limit, but you can't go on that vacation with it because you don't have the income to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing that I think a lot of people need to maybe get more adjusted to. The credit will come, but if you can have the financial part situated first, you can get your credit together.
That's a fact. And then determining what cards are suitable, like you said, suitable for you, because the big outside looking at the type of card that will best suit you is what is the interest rate on some of these cards that are being offered to you? Because when you get good credit, they're going to be throwing them out there. And so just don't be in a place of saying, hey, I'm signing up for this. I'm going to get this because they gave it to me. But they give you a 3,000 limit and you got a 30% interest rate. Make it make sense. I don't want that. So that's a very great point, Ryan.
Yep. I guess for all of you, because you're all in the credit business space, you hear a lot of talk about AI, whether it be the Chat GPTs of the world, or just any of these automated things that are taking a lot of jobs, or like we talked about earlier, creating templates where before templates was the thing, and now it's not so much about the template as opposed to the wording of said template and also your specific situation. So do you guys embrace AI at all, or do you feel like it's going to get to a point where AI is going to kind of supplant the need for any type of credit enhancement from an actual person?
Go ahead, my bad.
For me and my perspective, I think AI does not have a bearing on where I'm going. I think it is a tool that is going to enhance who I am in my business. Like it's not something that's going to replace me. It's going to help me make more leaders in this industry.
Okay, T.
That's a great point. Actually, I truly embrace AI, and that's just the place where we are in the culture right now. Anyway, technology is one of the biggest things that's involved. And my thought is, like, I don't think AI will take our job, but somebody that knows how to operate AI will. So when you learn the ins and outs and truly how it works, it can really help you in so many ways. It's amazing to me because in a split second, you can have so much of what you need. Embracing technology, embracing change, and really educating yourself and trying to be in front of change and adjusting with it. It'll definitely help out business owners from a business side and a personal side at the same time. So one thing I've learned, life is about change. So if we learn to adapt with some of the things with technology and keep ourselves up, it can really help us out in so many ways from that point. So I'm a fan of AI and Chat GPT. So yeah.
Jacoya, how you feel about AI and technology and feel like it may replace you in this space?
I hope it don't. No, but I don't think it will though. If anything, it'll help you more. It'll definitely help. I haven't had a chance to, just check it out, but I definitely think it'll be more of a helping hand.
All right,
check out Chat GPT. It is dope. Like, it's really dope.
What's the name of it?
Chat GPT.
Okay, I'm write that down.
GPT.
Look,
yeah.
Like you all were saying, I think we need to embrace it. I think it is something that could be very beneficial. Mm-hmm. But I do think, just like most things, most technology, I do feel like it is only as resourceful as the person behind the controls.
Absolutely.
So I think, although you can, some people put ideas into it and it can spit out a template, or it can spit out a college paper, or an essay or things like that. I do also feel like
don't spin on it.
You can put your own spin on it. It's only going to work as effective as the people that are programming it. So I do feel like we do need to embrace it. I embrace it. I don't use it to create things word for word, but sometimes if you're doing some type of overview, if you're having a webinar, you're having an interview, you're having a conference, and you're trying to organize an overview of, we're going to hit this, we're going to do this, we're going to do at this block here, we're going to have this time here. It can be a very useful tool to organize the thoughts that you already have. Yeah. And I think that could be one way that you can utilize it. I don't think it's going to replace a person all the way, because at the end of the day, just like most technology, I think we are all, at the end of the day, we're more open to the idea of doing what we're doing now. Talking to somebody who looks like you, who has a similar background as you, a similar story as you. And I think that can never be replaced. So I think AI is only going to be used to kind of enhance what we already do. So it's, as we wrap here, I'm going to go around and I'm going to let everybody, I need everybody to give out where we can find you. But then I also want you to give one thing. If you had to give somebody, whoever's watching, one thing that they can, as soon as it's over, they watch this, they can apply your one thing as soon as they get off, and they'll see results, maybe not tomorrow, but they'll see results relatively soon if they just do this one or two things. What is that thing? So Marivel, first, I want you to give what's one tip that you can give somebody who is trying to rebuild their credit, and then I want you to give your contact information.
I think the number one thing that I would say is grab a piece of paper, grab a red pen, grab a green pen. Your green pen is what you are bringing home. Your red pen is every expense that you have, and start eliminating those expenses. Be realistic, grab your statements, and make a list of those Starbucks runs, the gas station runs, the fast food runs, and cross those off and just start there. And you can find me at my first name, my last name.com. So www.marivelsotelo.com, or you can find me on Facebook, or you can text me at 336-497-1189.
All right, Jacoya.
What was the question?
What is something? It's fine. So give somebody one tip that they can apply to improve their credit, and maybe not get instant results, but what's something they can do, they can see results relatively quickly if they just practice this one thing or do this one thing.
I say don't apply for too much credit. Only apply for, what you are able to afford. I say don't co-sign for anyone unless you really trust them. And another thing I say, make sure you make all your payments on time. And just keep your credit card usage low. You should be fine. And you can also find me on Facebook, Jacoya Rasheda, and my website is riseforever.com.
All right, T.
Good. I think both of the ladies have said exactly what I would 100% agree with. Definitely, outside of planning a budget, definitely find a way that truly works for you, that you can really stick to. We all learn differently. We all move differently. We all process things differently. So find a way that truly you can track it. There's even apps out there that you can download. You can connect to your account that can show you what your expenses are. Things that are subscriptions that you may have that you can cut out. Truly figure out what you can take away for a moment. You can release for a moment and focus in on those things. One of the links I like to use is Smart Credit. Smart Credit is really, really good. If you don't have a basic understanding of truly how it works, when you create an account there, it'll show you literally how many points you have tied up between multiple accounts that you have, or things that you can free up as well. So, and also you can find me at FinWiz Credit Solutions, LLC. Fin is financial, Wiz is wisdom. So I put both of them together, and that's I just want to make sure everyone is have financial wisdom as it comes to their money management, and then just the overall perspective of life with how you balance your money and your credit and things of that nature. So Facebook, Tay Menafield, everything else. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for attending this. Thank you. I think we covered a lot of ground. We covered a lot of we might shake the room a little bit with our concerns about credit sweeps and CPNs, but hopefully it gets the conversation going. I appreciate you guys for being a part of this. Hopefully this will not be the last time. Hopefully when you guys have something, hopefully I can jump on y'all platforms.
Oh yeah, I'm ready to put you in the hot seat, Ryan. Yeah, it's coming.
I'm looking for that as well. So until next time, we will see you guys later on.
Gotcha. Bye, y'all.